If you refuse to have processes, you're killing your freedom. I really mean it. Stay with me a couple of minutes and I will explain you why, even if it sounds ridiculous, right? So I worked in companies where people would say, no, we don't want processes because processes kill our creativity, kill our freedom, we are bound to the processes. Well, what? Well, it depends on the process, right? So let's make an example. Why did I think about that? Because I was in the airport the other day, and you know when there is this line and they make all these sort of flexible fences where you need to go all the way down, it's like an S, infinite S, so that when there's a lot of people, the queue is tidy and everyone is in line, and you know more or less, and people there, not necessarily you, they can approximate how long the queue is, how long it takes. So there is this S line, but there's nobody. It's like literally two people, me and another gentleman. And so at a certain point, my feet were sore for, I don't know what reason actually, but I said, okay, there is no one. I just walked over the fence because it's flexible, it's quite easy. I only had my backpack because it was still before getting the luggage, so I could do it easily. And the guard there started shouting like, it's forbidden to do that, you need to follow the rules. You can't go past the other people, you need to do all the line and go all the way like everyone else is doing. I turn around and I say, I do understand, and that's what I normally do, but there's no one. There's nobody. Doesn't matter, you still need to go all the way down and all. Okay, I take the hit. I understand that I did something that was not particularly appreciated at the airport. And the point is, I always say be optimized and flexible. So processes are made by humans, right? They can be wrong, they can be improved, they can be made in a different way, but don't be too rigid on processes. That's where people start screaming, and people on both sides. If you don't follow the process, people will scream. But if you do demand that the people follow the process when it doesn't make any sense in your company or in your life or whatever you apply any kind of process, in vertical quotes, it needs to make sense. Processes should be there to help your life, to make your life easier. Why am I saying so? Why did I start with, well, if you don't follow processes, then you're killing your freedom? Because think about that. A process is just a way to say, okay, this is how we did it so far. This is how it works really well. And so it's a way to avoid wasting time. The more you do stuff in a way that is known to be good, the more you're saving time, the more you're saving struggle to yourself, because you're learning from the mistakes that you did in the past and that other people in your position did in the past before you. Of course, you'll say, oh, you always talk about disruption, innovation. Of course, that goes at a different level, that goes at a different layer. Imagine when you have a process that works extremely well, it means you're doing something that is meaningful, brings result, and requires you the minimum amount of time. It means you have more energy, more mental freshness, and more time to dedicate to other things, to other tasks at work, to other things in your life, and, fundamental point, to improvements. Because, of course, as I said before, processes might not be perfect, right? So, might need some disruption, might need some innovation, might need some improvements. But if you're not following a way to do things, first of all, you wouldn't know where to improve. Then you're always reinventing the wheel, which means you will not have time to actually invent something. You are reinventing the wheel, and so wasting time there instead of inventing something. This is why I said that refusing to have processes kills your freedom. And I saw it time and again. I do understand the resistance. I myself, sometimes I want to do things like fly by the seat of my pants, as they say in the United States, or play by ear, as they will say in the UK, basically doing things when I feel like doing them, in the way I feel like doing them. But not always, and not for everything. There are certain things where it's a blessing that you have a process, that where there's something that says, hey, for doing this task, we do it in this way, follow this pattern, follow this path, follow these steps, and do it as freely as possible, basically. And when I say freely, it means sometimes we have steps. Like if you want to, I don't know, if you want to start the engine of your car, if you want to start driving your car, there is a process, right? You first insert the key, then you turn the key, and then you push the clutch, and then you accelerate. So well, you don't need to accelerate actually to start the car, but there's a sequence. You can't start pushing on the clutch and accelerating before having turned the key. It just doesn't work. So of course, this is a process you don't need to have written somewhere because you have it by heart, you have it, it's in your memory, it's in your mind, you just know it by heart. But it doesn't mean that knowing it by memory, by heart, it's not a process. So that's a fallacy that is recognized many times in companies and in processes. So if you are in a position where you're asked to follow processes, rather than resisting the process, think, is the process worthwhile? Is the process meaningful? Because if it's not, follow the process, understand where it breaks, and then come up with, hey, the process here doesn't quite make sense, or it breaks, or it doesn't work, or it creates an output that is not supposed to be. So why don't we look together at improving the process? And that's how you create a process that is fit on what you actually do on a day-to-day basis, that delivers great results, and so you have an efficient system and you can be extremely effective. So let me know in the comments what you think about this, because it's a quite interesting topic and it's quite controversial. So let me know what you think. Do you like processes, first of all? Do you apply processes in your company? And how do you see processes and freedom together? It's a bit of a disruptive concept, right? So let me know. And as usual, if you want to have a free session of advice, just get in contact with me and we will discuss together. Take care.